crack on with today's proceedings. Item 1 then, apologies for absence, please, Ben.
Thank you, Chairman. We've received no apologies.
Lovely. Item 2 then, we've got 2 sets of minutes to approve. Minutes of the previous meeting held on Monday, the 23rd of June 2025, found in pages 4 to 11 of colleagues' agenda pack. Everyone happy it's a true and accurate record?
Yep.
Thank you very much. And then the minutes of the meeting held on Monday, the 14th of July 2025, contained within pages 12 to 14 of our agenda pack. Everyone happy with true and accurate record?
Agreed.
Lovely, thank you very much. Item 3, any urgent business? I've not been made aware of any. Any declarations of interest? If any member has any declarations pertinent, please raise it at the relevant item. Non-members wishing to address the meeting, as always, you are both most welcome. Item 6, Chairman's announcements. I don't have any, so we'll move to item 7 then. Breckland Community Funding Application. Councillor Ashby to start, please.
Good morning, Leader. Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much. I can confirm with regards to the grants since the last Cabinet meeting that under the Inspiring Communities Match Funding Scheme, £5,000 has been awarded to Caring Together charity for Swaffham. That was heavily championed by Jacob Morton. It was pushed through for that. That will provide unpaid family carers in Breckland with professional accredited counselling to help them cope with emotional demanding of caring. Additionally, Thetford Vineyard Church has been awarded £5,000, contributing to the running costs of the Grow Kids project, which provides clothes and essentials for children in Thetford. And the current round will close on the 9th of October. Moving on to the Household Support Fund, I can confirm that between June and September, we supported 159 residents who accessed the fund, totalling £31,800, helping families through challenging times. The Spark Fund has provided money to Banham Village Community Hub, a movement for wellbeing, a community project that boosts health and happiness through physical activity and social connection. In additionally, under the Spark Fund, the Soham Tony Garden Allotment Association has been awarded a grant. Under the transport grants, Dereham Cancer Care have been awarded £500. That will be covering fuel costs for volunteers and taxi fares for patients. And lastly, Hockham Parish Council has been provided with £500, providing alternative transport for residents to attend medical appointments when no other option is available. That's everything from me, thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Tristan. Any questions, comments in relation to that? I've got Councillor Hewitt and then Councillor Crane, please.
Just briefly, Sam, can I just thank, on behalf of all of the residents of Breckland, at a time of economic, political and structural uncertainty, even facing this council, I'm absolutely delighted that Breckland can still do what we do best. We're able to support our community groups and our vulnerable residents. And I congratulate Tristram and the wider team for being able to continue that forward.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to mention Sam Tony Community Allotments, who contacted me regarding the Spark Fund and how delighted they were, even though it was only a small amount of money, what a difference that can make, and also what great help the officer involved had been in helping them with the application. So thank you very much to you and the team.
Thanks, Sam. And yes, on behalf of Hockham, our rural communities do struggle with access to medical services and facilities. It's pretty obvious, really. We don't have any buses going through the villages to the locations where the surgeries are dispersed around the district. So this funding is absolutely essential. So thank you very much.
Super, thank you very much. We'll move on to our next item. Oh, Councillor Wilkinson, please.
Yeah, thank you, Leader, for giving me the opportunity. I'd just like to mention as well Tristan's team and the communities team upstairs, and especially the enabling officers. They've been working sort of quietly in the background, creating mindful villages, and there's a lot of hard work gone into that. And that mindful village, bringing all the organisations together, is one big hub for support for everything from the pop-up pantry to health and well-being, mental health and well-being support as well. So that is a big thing we're doing in Breckland, and just record my thanks for that.
Lovely, thanks, Peter. So move on to the next part of our grant updates. Councillor Clausen, please.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Well, as we approach the end of the first half of this financial year, I wanted to share an update on the support Breckland Council has been able to offer our local businesses through funding from our allocation of the Rural England Prosperity Fund and the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. Early in the summer, we launched the Rural Business Grants. There were two capital grant schemes, New Business Startup and Rural Business Growth Grants. The grants support productivity and prosperity in places that need it most, and in activities that specifically address the challenges that a rural area like Breckland face. The response has been overwhelming, with demand exceeding the fund's capacity by over 400%. In total, Breckland has supported 16 businesses by investing a total of £285,000. This £285,000 invested has unlocked an additional 1.1 million in private sector funding, bringing the total investment into our rural economy to £1.4 million. The projects funded through the grants span a wide range of industries and purposes, from purchasing of new production equipment, shop expansion, property upgrades, and enabling business startups. These initiatives will create new job opportunities, improve productivity, and enhance the long-term economic vitality of our rural communities. In addition, we have partnered with the Federation of Small Businesses to offer discounted group memberships, enabling 20 small businesses to access expert advice, legal protection, and networking support at reduced costs. We've continued to support the Go Digital programme, so far providing expert digital advice to 30 small and medium-sized businesses, along with grants to help them enhance their online presence and implement tailored digital action plans for growth. Finally, through our Meanwhile programme, we have supported 4 businesses with a total of 25,000 to rent vacant commercial properties to start or grow their ventures, helping to keep our high streets vibrant. We are proud to be making a real difference to our local economy by empowering rural businesses to invest in their future. Thank you, Chairman.
Lovely, thank you, Paul. Questions, comments? I've got Councillor Cowan, then Councillor Hewitt, please.
Well, what a great report that is. Speaking as the Cabinet Member responsible for finance, revenues and benefits, this particular initiative by this council supports businesses that otherwise would actually go out of business. It's dealing with some of the tensions and the pressures that I'm afraid our government has placed on small and medium enterprises, particularly in our high streets, with the increase in national insurance contributions and the reduction in the floor for those contributions. We all know the pressures that business is facing. And here we are in a rural district where we're actually able to make a difference for those businesses which are the lifeblood of our communities. From this council's perspective, it's essential that we promote and help to drive forward business interests, because as we know, we do take a proportion of business rates, which helps to support the rest of the district and our residents. And we often focus on our residents, quite rightly, but here we are dealing with the other half of that equation, which is our businesses. They are the lifeblood of Breckland, they are the lifeblood of Norfolk, and we are doing more, I think, than our fair share in supporting them. So I welcome these initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. And just in echoing Phil's points, Paul, whatever the naysayers might say about this district and this area, I'm proud that we can promote our local communities, we can promote employment in the local area, and we can promote growth in this local area. Whatever the future holds for this council, I'm proud of what we can achieve at a local level, listening to local people, local businesses, and reflecting their local needs as a rural economy. I hope this local voice, Sam, will continue through our LGR and onwards.
Lovely, thank you very much both, and thanks to Paul and Tristan and your teams for this proactive and bottom-up approach. I know that you've been working with the voluntary sector and the business community to design both of our funding schemes for these types of activities. And you heard already what a tangible difference it's making day in, day out to thousands of residents across the district. So move on to item 8 then, which is the 25-26 Finance Performance and Projects Report. I'm going to be presented by Councillor Webb, Councillor Hewitt and Councillor Cowan, please. Who's kicking off? Alison? Super.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to present to the committee today the Q1 Finance Performance and Project Report. Just as a reminder, this report covers the period between April to June 2025. So I'm kicking off with performance for Q1. In summary, for each area will be given and we'll be passing between us. In Q1 for performance, the majority of our key performance indicators are at or near target. There are a couple of areas I'd like to draw your attention to quickly. Firstly, days to process housing benefits and council tax reduction are now both above target. These indicators spent much of the time 24-25 below target, so it's good to see that we can now report these are back to expected levels. This has been achieved by much hard work from the service, and we hope to see that we can continue to report this as at or above for the foreseeable future. The other area I want to touch on relates to the customer contact. It has been a challenging period for the contact centre due to several factors, including long-term staff sickness. The team are working very hard to return service performance levels back to normal through several different options. However, it is important to look at the key performance indicator within the report. During Q1, customer satisfaction with the service remained above target, albeit with a slight drop compared to last quarter. It's therefore important to remember that despite the challenges the services are currently facing, they have managed to hit their target around making sure our residents are satisfied when they contact us. I will now hand over to Councillor Hewitt to provide an overview on projects.
Thank you, Alison. The projects element of the report covers the position of this council's high priority projects, colleagues, as at a point in time, which is the end of Q1. You'll see from the appendices that there are 13 high priority projects, all ranging in different size and complexity. Whilst all of these projects are progressing, some invariably, due to the nature of projects of this size and scale, will experience slippage against their original completion dates, and that is evidenced in the report. One of the biggest projects within the programme is the Attleborough Leisure Centre. In Q1, we concluded on the procurement process, which has resulted in a preferred bidder being selected. And just to bring you up to speed where we are now with Q2, work is currently ongoing to finalise the contractual agreements and agree a detailed building schedule for all parties. This requires a number of different surveys, logistical considerations with the Attleborough Academy and so on. As part of this project, the planning application for the new 3G football pitch will be presented to committee for a decision next month. You will also see a number of projects which form part of the Simpler Recycling programme. This includes implementation of a new food waste service offered to local businesses, which was completed in Q1. This saw an initial uptake of around 60 businesses, ensuring they're fully compliant with new waste legislation. Initial scoping is also underway with regards to food waste collections for households, which will be expected to be implemented at some point in 2026. Colleagues, this is the only project which is tracking currently as red, almost exclusively due to the current timescale set by central government and the work required in order to meet them, particularly around the new procurement legislation that is recently also being implemented. Once again, Chair, I believe this report demonstrates our ability, despite challenging headwinds and a very challenging political environment, to progress and deliver a number of key projects across the district which have the biggest impact on our local residents and our local businesses. I'll now pass over to Councillor Cowan to provide a financial performance update for Q1.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Well, colleagues, I'm pleased to present this financial report for Q1. This is the first occasion in which I can recall that a significant and positive contribution to the general fund is being displayed at Q1. Normally, we see a deficit at the beginning of our financial year, and as we know, during the course of the year, that deficit reduces to the point where it becomes either non-existent or insignificant. However, this time we're showing a significant positive contribution to the general fund. And given all of the external pressures that have assailed this and other councils in the recent past, I'm bound to say that this is an excellent position in which Breckland Council finds itself. Thus, you'll note that we're showing £267,000 to be contributed to the general fund at Q1, a remarkable achievement. And I'm also pleased to advise that both in terms of salaries and our ambitious Evolve programme, that we're ahead of the curve on both of these counts. In Table 2, it identifies significant variances and illustrates where costs have been incurred and furthermore savings made. And it's of interest to note that both our planning income has increased as a consequence of some significant planning applications, and housing benefit claims have not cost this council as much as anticipated, largely because we have a lower reliance on nightly paid temporary accommodation, something which this council has been keen to drive down for some considerable time. Nevertheless, housing costs continue to show a deficit, as you heard earlier, of about £179,000. Our capital programme in Section 2 is much thinner than has hitherto been the case. And you will note that we're carrying forward the cost of the food waste vehicles. And you've just heard about the food waste programme. I think it's important to advise that this council is probably, again, ahead of the curve compared with others in the procurement of these vehicles, which is good news. As you will be aware, Breckland has a sound financial position, and as a result, we've received a higher rate of return on loans and for a longer period than projected. These are to third parties, and it's of interest that some £20 million, roughly half of the available capital, has been loaned to other local authorities. Thus, I'm delighted to present this report to you that reflects not only our financial prudence over previous years, but also the dedication of our staff, both within the finance department and also throughout the council, in rising to the challenge set to be cost effective and efficient in the delivery of not only those statutory services for which we have an obligation to provide, but also those non-statutory services, and you heard about some of those from colleagues this morning, that we believe passionately are essential for the well-being of our residents and businesses within the community of Breckland. So I commend this report to you. Thank you, Chair.
Lovely, thanks, Paul, Alison and Phil. Any questions, comments in relation to that? I've got Councillor Kybird, please.
Thank you, Sam. I note a substantial reduction in the gate fees for recycling. Is that a general trend or an advantageous quarter? Thank you.
I will refer that technical question to Helen.
Well, I was going to refer
Rihanna.
it to Rihanna, and I don't think it's a general trend. I think it's because they'd set the gate fee higher, and it actually ended up being lower. But I'll let Rihanna answer that one.
Yeah, so they forecast the gate fee every year, which is what we build into our budget, but it fluctuates on a monthly basis based on commodity sales and volume. So it goes up, it goes down, you win some, you lose some, but it evens out by the end of the recycling financial year, which is October every year. So that's why it looks odd in the way that it's reported. It doesn't run with our financial year.
Good. Are you happy with that response, Councillor Kybird? Lovely, thank you much. Councillor Borrett, please.
It's not a question, so don't panic. It's really a comment. It is an absolute pleasure to sit here and listen to these reports this morning, and to see the financial report for Q1. Everybody is talking about the crisis in local government, but here at Breckland, we are being able to demonstrate once again that a well-run, efficient council can manage within its means, can not keep dropping new burdens onto the council taxpayer, and can deliver good services. I commend all three Cabinet members for their reports this morning, and I just think that demonstrates the excellent job that Breckland does. Not all councils are the same, and it's really good to be able to sit here and demonstrate that this morning. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you very much. So Cabinet is recommended to note the report, and I think therefore we have duly noted it. So move on to item 9 then, which is the performance framework, and Councillor Webb to present, please.
Thank you, Leader. I'm delighted to bring forward the performance framework for the Council. The performance framework is a key piece of the Council's structure and sets out clearly how we measure, report and challenge performance as an organisation. Whilst the committee structure dictates who sees what parts of performance, this document underpins the principles that the Council should follow in constructing and managing performance. The last time we brought this framework for discussion was back in 2023. Since then, the Council's approach to performance management has remained broadly the same. The 2023 framework was a much more fundamental change in terms of our performance approach, introducing new boards for performance management, and overall making the document less technical. Our stance across the last 2 years is that this approach has worked, which is good, and the framework before you today represents a continuation of that. This report asks that the Cabinet agrees the adoption of the revised performance framework. Myself and Ryan are happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Lovely, thank you very much, Alison. Ryan, anything else? No, super stuff. Any questions, comments? Councillor Hewitt, please.
Just briefly, Sam. Alison, I know a really important word that you mentioned in presenting this report, which is to challenge performance. Not to rest on laurels, not to celebrate, easy targets, but to challenge performance. For me, as an entrepreneurial council, we have never and should never settle for good enough. For us, we should always strive to make sure that we are doing the best that we can. For me, underpinning this whole report is the fact that our residents and businesses given the best opportunity to thrive, given the current legislative and economic headwinds this council faces. And for me, and my reading of the report, and certainly the ambition behind it is, yes, they are, and will continue to be under Breckland Council moving forward.
Super. If there are no further questions, comments in relation to this item, we've got the recommendation to agree to the adoption of the revised performance of the framework. Councillor, will you happy to move that? Super. All those in favour? Thank you very much. That's unanimous. So move to item 10 then, which is the local council tax reduction scheme. Councillor Cowan to present, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Every year we look at this and sort of do a bit of navel gazing, try and understand what the implications are for residents in the district. And I'm pleased to say that this particular year, the team have identified that we do not wish to see any change at all from the current system that's in place in terms of local council tax reduction, which stands at 91.5%. And of course, if you have any questions, I'm here, but also we have Lorraine King from ARP sitting with us today, who can take any detailed questions about this particular item. So we have a recommendation before us to consider the annual review and approve the continuation of the existing scheme with no changes. Thank you, Chairman.
Lovely. Thanks, for Lorraine. Anything to add? No. Super. Any questions, comments? No. So we've got the recommendation from Councillor Cowan. All those in favour? Thank you very much. So move to item 11 then, which is constitutional changes. Councillor Hewitt to present, please.
Thank you, Sam. I think this will have to be a slight change of pace. because the report in front of Cabinet at the moment is to recommend to note the new contract procurement rules as approved by Governance and Audit, and to approve the proposed scheme of delegation for officers relating to contracts and procurement as at Appendix B. And in that context, I'm pleased to present this report to you, which sets out changes to our contract procedure rules and the scheme of delegation following the implementation of the Procurement Act 2023. As mentioned, this report has already been considered by the Governance and Audit Committee at its meeting on the 18th of September. Questions and clarifications were raised and accepted at that meeting, with a recommendation to forward on to full council on the 9th of October. And all of the recommendations for both Governance and Audit and full council are in the agenda item in front of you. The Procurement Act became law on the 24th of February 25 and delivered a fundamentally completely new set of procurement regulations. The aim of the Act is to create a simpler and more transparent procurement system which delivers the best value, not just for money, but on a social basis for contracting authorities, whilst improving the way in which procurement is conducted. Key changes of this Act are summarised in sections 2, 3 and 4 of the report. And as I said, they introduce wholesale changes, meaning that the whole of our constitution needs to reflect these changes moving forward. A focus on transparency, accessibility for SMEs and VCSEs, focusing on advantageous tenders rather than just economically advantageous tenders, reflecting, which we as a council have said for a long time, the social value of what we do and not just the economic cost of the services that we provide. The Act introduces a central digital platform and new enhanced assessments, controls and compliance rules around debarment, procurement review, payment processes and everything else. The contract procedure rules need, as I say, changes to be made to our council's constitution, which has been updated to reflect the changes in the new Procurement Act, and also to update any local changes within this council itself. The scheme of delegations that we're being asked to note and to approve now has been updated to reflect the new contract procedure rules, revised financial threshold, and current officer job titles. There are no new delegations proposed from what we have had in the past. So the recommendation before colleagues now is, as I mentioned earlier on, to note the contract procedure rules and to approve the proposed scheme of delegations. I'm delighted that Rihanna is here, not for this, but I'm delighted that other officers are here who may be able to answer any precise, I just thought I'd wake you up a bit, any other precise questions that you might have, that members might have regarding the recommendations before you.
Lovely, thanks Rihanna. Anything else to add? No? Councillor Kyburn, as the Chair of Governance and Audit, any comments or anything to add?
I'm still on.
I'll just make a comment that in the past the procurement has been a highlighted zone from internal audit reports, and I would imagine that this new set of policies will fully satisfy the internal auditors. Thank you.
So did you want to add anything? No, super. Any questions, comments in relation to this? No, so we've got the two recommendations from Paul. All those in favour? Thank you very much. That's unanimous and agreed. So move to item 12 then, which is material recycling facilities, the Murph extension. Councillor Hewitt to present, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Alison and Sarah, for also supporting this particular agenda item, I say in jest. This report, Chair, in front of us outlines the current position and future options for the processing of mixed dry recyclables collected by Norfolk Waste's collection authorities, the WCAs, as the existing contract with North Environmental Waste Services approaches its expiry in September 2027. The contract covers all waste collection authorities, with the County Council involved as the waste disposal authority and is delivered via a joint venture company. Members may recall back in 2021, we debated a similar report, similar to the one in front of us today, which resulted in the extension of the co-mingled dry recyclable waste contract through the News joint venture from 2024 up to 2027. and this report now seeks to extend the arrangement further from October 2027, which is the contract period date, to March 2030. The recommendation follows a strategic view of the current situation and options for future processing of mixed dry recyclables. The review highlights that the national policy landscape is still evolving, and there remains a lack of clarity over the rollout of some elements of the simpler recycling policy set by government. As a result, the Waste Partnership Board in Norfolk have considered a number of different options, including procuring a new contract jointly or as individual authorities, different collection systems, transferring processes to Norfolk County Council, and negotiating some form of extension. And this extension presented to you now represents the best option to maintain stability and service continuity, and allows councils to better understand the implications of the forthcoming national policies before committing to significant further service changes or investments. There is, as was highlighted in the financial report from Phil earlier, there is still massive uncertainty and fluctuation in the market. And any changes might actually only promote further uncertainty, particularly the challenging timescales for procurement, the lack of capacity in the external market, risk of higher costs, and most importantly, the timetable for LGR, which otherwise would impact directly at the same time that this current extension was coming to an end. It's the view of the partnership that we should utilise an extension to the existing contract to ensure clarity and certainty moving forward. And an extension to March 2030 is recommended, as this aligns with the service level agreements set under the current joint venture. And so we'll see all contracts ending at the same time. Chair, this report has already been taken through all the Norfolk authorities' governance structures, with North Norfolk, Kings Lynn, Great Yarmouth and Norwich having to agree to the recommendation before you today. All remaining councils will have completed the process by the end of next month. It is therefore recommended to Cabinet that Cabinet agree to extend the commingled dry recycled waste contract through the new joint venture with Norse to 31st of March 2030.
Lovely. Thanks, Paul. Councillor Crane, anything else to add? No. Rihanna, anything to add? Questions, comments? We've got Councillor Borrett then, please.
Thank you very much. I support this, and I think this is a proportionate response to the issues in front of us, given the huge amount of uncertainty, certainly the lack of clarity about policy in this area, and also the upheaval of local government reorganisation. So I do think that it is important to protect the residents from shocks in regards to prices, and I think that we do not want to hand whatever the new regime in Norfolk is going forward an impossible situation for them to resolve. So I think this is the perfect solution. It's an extension of time till there is more clarity, and it protects residents, as I've said, from spikes in cost in providing the service, and we all know how important recycling is. So I think in order that, I think this is excellent. I have no hesitation in supporting it.
Super. Thanks, Bill. If there are no other comments, we've got the recommendations as presented. All those in favour? Lovely, thank you very much. That's unanimous. We'll move on to item 13, which is the carbon audit 2425. Councillor Crane to present.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning, everybody in the room. In 2019-20, the Council approved to carry out a baselining exercise to understand the major emission sources from organisations owned and from this organisation's owned and operational assets. We continue to collect data and share each year so we can understand progress. And this year, I'm pleased to say, we have reduced our overall emissions by 8.7%, which is 6,924 tonnes of CO2. But I want to make it very clear that when, at this council, we talk about climate change, it is not just about emissions. It is about improving the lives of our residents and helping our businesses and making sure we lead by example. It means making sure people have warm, energy-efficient homes, protecting communities from flooding, and creating places that are healthier, safer, and more resilient for the future. It is about sustainability, and since we undertook this baseline exercise, it has become business as usual at this council that sustainability will be at the heart of everything we do. We will continue with the Breckland 2035 strategy because it is what our residents want. The 2022 residents survey shows that 97% of our residents said it was either very important or important that we protect the environment and help tackle climate change. So I have this report before you that you all have seen. Happy to take questions, and it's just to note the report. Thank you, Chair.
Lovely, thanks, Helen. Any questions, comments in relation to this? I've got Councillor Hewitt, please.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Helen. As a council, we have always said we will champion, we will challenge, and we will continue. Champion the things that are right, challenge the things that we see, and continue to do the great work that we do. This report has got a huge amount of detail. It's got a huge amount of factual data that supports it. And it's not only, I think, good for this council to promote what is right for the planet, but to be blunt, it also makes commercial sense for some of our residents and our businesses to introduce some of the initiatives that are outlined in this report moving forwards. As such, it's good for our residents, our communities, and for anyone else who lives in this beautiful district of Breckland.
Brilliant, thank you, Paul. Any other questions, comments? If not, we've had the recommendation, which is for Cabinet to note. So therefore, Cabinet has duly noted. We'll move on to item 14, which is the Norfolk Strategic Planning Framework. Councillor Sarah Suggett to present, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to present to colleagues this morning this report asking for approval to the Norfolk Strategic Planning Framework. The current NSPF has successfully delivered several items and has proven to be effective. One such piece of work is the Norfolk Recreational Impact Avoidance and Mitigation Strategy, affectionately known as the GIRAMS. This is a good recent example of Norfolk authorities working together strategically and across boundaries. Having a good track record and being able to example strategically working together across boundaries is a legal test an inspector will apply at local plan examination. To ensure cooperation, officer and member forums were established, and I would like to say how proud I am of our officer and member input, dedication and foresight in these forums. Ensuring good working relationships across Norfolk is very timely. We discussed in this chamber only a few days ago our response regarding local government reform, and although we do not know many details around this or devolution, it is likely to change local plan coverage and the creation of mayoral strategic planning authority. With a good framework in place, we can ensure important strategic issues around housing and growth can be sensibly considered. It is also worth pointing out that since Cabinet last endorsed this in May 2021, there has been some considerable changes to legislation and the National Plan and Policy Framework. The version you see today was considered at the member forum held in May and has taken into account items such as nutrient neutrality, changes to NHS structures and the abolition of the new Anglia LEP. For us to continue to have a strong voice for our residents, I recommend to colleagues endorsing the report before you. The recommendations, which can be found on page 120, are that Cabinet endorses the Norfolk Strategic Planning Framework version 4 and gives delegated authority to the Director of Planning and Building Control to make minor, non-material, consequential changes to the document as necessary. Thank you.
Super stuff. Thank you very much, Sarah. Any questions, comments in relation to this? Councillor Hewitt, please.
Sam, so I just can't resist it. With respect to those who think that the only way is possible to deliver any form of council services at all is to think like a county, state that the only way the service can be delivered as a county, this report, and I'm fascinated by the name of the report, just demonstrates the fact that strategically working together across boundaries works. It has worked, it will continue to work, delivering services at a local level, but in cooperation, collaboration and coordinating with other providers across district or other boundaries. So it's more an observation. Congratulations, Sarah. Once again, it's a no-brainer in some ways. We work better when we collaborate rather than when we just mass together in a super council.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed, Paul. Councillor Khyber, please.
I think in support of that last comment on page 153, you'll see that Thetford and Mildenhall are grouped together as a strategic functional economic market area, whatever one of those is.
Great. If there are no further questions, we've had the recommendations, the two recommendations moved. All those in favour? Lovely, thank you very much. That's unanimous. We'll move to item 15, which is the Anglia Revenues and Benefits Partnership update. Councillor Cowan to present, please.
Thank you, Chairman. This particular year, I chair the joint committee by rotation. And as you will see from the notes in front of you, it was quite an interesting meeting. But what I want to do is just bring out a couple of key points for you to be aware of. You will recall that we have taken enforcement at ARP very seriously. And that approach has led us to being appointed by other authorities to act as their enforcement agency as well in terms of dealing with fraud. And I can tell you now that in year 2024 to 2025, the team successfully collected debt amounting to £2.35 million and the fee income of £685,000. This sends a clear message to those out there who choose to ignore what their civic duty is, i.e. to pay their council tax, that we do not take those lying down, and we will pursue you, and we are doing so for the benefit of all the residents across the partnership, not just here in Breckland. And we've extended to Malden in Essex as well, who've seen what we're doing. And we've been approached by Leeds because they can see exactly what we're doing and how we're able to achieve results where they can't. So ARP punches way above its weight. It's the third largest collection agency in the country. That's significant considering this council, 20 years ago or thereabouts, with Forest Heath, decided we needed to do things differently. And we've carried on doing things differently. We've attracted other councils to join with us. It's part of the partnership, and we've also attracted other councils to appoint us to act for them on their behalf. And I wish to end on that particular point because with local government reorganisation looming, the point about ARP is that it crosses boundaries now. It's a scalable organisation, and I think we can be proud of what we've achieved thus far, but looking ahead, the opportunities for ARP to do more and more efficiently across a wider Norfolk and Suffolk are enormous. I just commend this report. It's there for noting. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Phil, any questions, comments in relation to this? I've got Councillor Clausen, then Councillor Hewitt, please.
For starters, congratulations on becoming chairman of ARP. It's again, so there we go. I think ARP is one of those things that lots of people just don't understand, and I would echo what Phil was saying there about how it is cross county and cross region almost now. So we have, when I was on the board there, we've had MPs visit, and I can promise you they haven't got a clue what ARP does, what it's about, and how good it really is. And if LGR is about disbanding something as good as this, then LGR is rubbish. Well, I think we know that anyway. But there we go. Congratulations again. Well done to ARP, and carry on the good work.
Lovely, thanks. I've got Councillor Hewitt, Councillor Wilkinson, and Councillor Borrett, please.
Thank you, Leader. Thank you, Phil. I heard on the radio this morning a rather interesting conversation with a national political leader referring to the potential savings in benefits running into billions, which he then promptly spent 30 seconds afterwards, but without a real idea as to how and where that fraud might sit. Can I suggest, Phil, that you might reach out to that national leader and invite him to meet you and to ARP to see a system that is working and has worked effectively and efficiently in both distributing and coordinating benefits and tackling fraud at the source?
was actually putting my hand up and waving to Gemma when she turned around. But I have, yeah, but I have been involved with the Anglian Partner Revenues. It's accessible to all members. That is a big point. I was surprised when Councillor Cowan said it was one of the 3 largest in the country, and when they're available for members of Breckland Council to resolve issues in their own wards within days. I think that's pretty impressive. So it's something that it should be kept, and you know, like I said, it's from up there down here where we are, and great support.
Lovely, thanks, Peter, and hello to you as well. Councillor Borrett, please.
Yes, I'm just supporting really what's already been said. I mean, this is a question of, this wasn't Anglian Revenues Partnership, or ARP as we fondly know. It was not formed as a result of an idea from central government. This was local councils being innovative, looking at how they could make a scalable model to deliver a service in the most efficient way, costing taxpayers the least. And also, if you look at the service standards of ARP, to a much higher level than most of the in-house services provided by other councils. So what we have here is a service that costs less and produces more, that was entirely devised by councils working together to solve problems without any intervention from central government. And I think if there's a lesson for anybody with what we're going through with local government reorganisation, the example of Anglian Revenues Partnership is absolutely at the heart of it. And Breckland was at the heart of forming Anglian Revenues, sorry. I put my teeth back in. I'll call it ARP. So it was at the heart of forming Anglia Revenues Partnership. So, you know, it just goes to show that you don't have to be an enormous council to deliver outstanding change and really good outcomes to your residents. You know, the examples exist here, and I support Councillor Cowan in his chairmanship of ARP, and long may they continue to do the good job they do.
Lovely, thanks, Bill. Phil, any closing comments?
Yes, please. I'm sorry to say that Lorraine had to disappear before we got to this point on the agenda, because under her stewardship, ARP is moving from strength to strength, which is really to the good of everybody, as you've heard. And I think, Alison, you'll confirm this, she's coming to council shortly to present a paper for members to understand precisely how ARP are functioning. And I think it would be a real benefit for all to listen to what she has to say. So thank you very much, Chairman.
Lovely, thanks, Phil. So those minutes of the meeting on the 17th of June 2025 are duly noted. Look ahead to the next meeting for Cabinet will be on the 20th of October 2025 here at Elizabeth House. Can I just thank Councillor Wilkinson and Councillor Kybird as non-members of this committee who came to speak today, and the officers, and I formally close the meeting. Thank you.